Alright everybody, let's go ahead and talk about Clayface, the new DCU project. We got some new updates on it and it sounds like it's straight out of a Hollywood horror story because it literally is gonna be. So here's the deal, the movie's gonna follow a B-list actor who's desperate to stay relevant. He's gonna inject himself with something and he's gonna be able to morph his face, his body into whatever he wants or whoever he wants. So he's basically gonna be just a giant pile of Clayface. Now I know what you're thinking, this sounds awfully familiar to last year's The Substance, and in my opinion that is a fantastic thing to compare this to. Now if you've never heard of The Substance, I urge you to go watch the trailer or even just go watch it cold. It's a crazy body horror flick, it won a bunch of awards and it really just put horror back on the map of being something more than just jump scares. Now the budget for Clayface is set at about $40 million. It's a low risk, high reward type of deal, and that's a smart move because Clayface is not a big household name like the Joker or Penguin. The potential is there, but might as well play it safe. And as far as the shooting locations for Clayface, they're looking at places like Atlanta, New Jersey, or even Toronto, so no surprises there. Tons of movies, tons of shows are filmed at all of those locations. Plus, shooting it there is gonna be a lot cheaper than filming it in LA. Now, the director situation is the biggest set of new information that we got regarding Clayface. As far as directors go, we have two big names that were rumored. We have Jeff Wadlow, who did Imaginary, and we have James Watkins, who did Speak No Evil. But now we're hearing that Wadlow was never in contention for Clayface, so we can all breathe a sigh of relief because Imaginary was awful. I don't know if that was his fault, if it was Blumhouse's fault, but that movie, awful. But Watkins though, that's a completely different story. Speak No Evil was a really effective thriller. I really dug it, so if he ends up getting the gig, I would not be mad at that. That being said though, my dream pick, my dream director for this movie would be Mike Flanagan. But unfortunately, he's just too busy over here doing the Exorcist reboot, he's doing the Carrie project, so that option is just off the table. But the fact that he wrote this, I don't see a world where the characters or the story are anything less than outstanding. There are also reports that casting is currently underway, so let's go and play the Who Should Play Clayface game. My first choice is pretty obvious. We have Alan Tudyk, he's already voicing Clayface in Creature Commandos, who's also in the DCU, so that kind of already makes sense. He also plays Clayface in the Harley Quinn animated show on Max, so why not just have him come full circle, have him play all of those different versions of Clayface? I would love to see that. You already know that he's done his research and he would bring that same passion that he does across the animated spectrum into live action. Next up on my list is Josh Brolin. He was already going to be considered for Hal Jordan in the Lanterns TV show that's set in the DCU, but he passed on that role. He already did the big superhero spectacle thing with the Avengers, with Deadpool 2, so maybe he wants to slow things down and do more of a character study. And number 3 is James McAvoy. If Watkins does end up directing this could be a thing. They already worked with each other on Speak No Evil, and James McAvoy in that knocked it out of the park yet again. And as we've already seen from James McAvoy, he can play multiple personalities across the board at the flip of a switch. He's so good at that. And since Clayface is gonna be this person, but he's gonna be playing multiple characters throughout the movie, this kind of makes sense. And this was just another idea that I had, but what if we get multiple actors in this movie? What if we get a person who's in this as the main character, that is the main Clayface, but since he can shape himself to whoever he wants, what if we get multiple celebrities in this? Now that might end up being a little bit too distracting, but I don't see why that's not a possibility. Like look at The Substance for example, Demi Moore is the main character, but Margaret Qualley ends up being the new face of that main character. So there could be something there. And now the big question, should Batman actually show up in Clayface? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, if they just keep this as a standalone horror thriller that just exists in its own little creepy world, I would be okay with that. Just focusing on the character Clayface is gonna be the safe bet, and I would not doubt that that's the route that they're gonna go. But if they do end up bringing Batman into this, they better make it worth it. And I think it'd be really cool to see him in the same way that we saw him in Creature Commandos, just a silhouette. You can't see who's playing the character, but imagine him just stalking the Clayface actor in the shadows or something similar to that. So you have that build up leading up to Brave and the Bold, but you don't see who it is, what his outfit actually looks like, but just building up that anticipation to the final reveal whenever that is. So yeah, that's everything that we know so far about the DCU Clayface. I'm really excited for this one. We have the low budget horror vibes, we have the body horror concepts, and the potential for a great lead actor. But what do you all think? Who do you want to see as Clayface? And should Batman even show up in this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, I have plenty more content on the DCU, on comic book movies, so make sure you check those out. Thank you for watching my video. I'll catch you in the next one.